you didn't know already, I'm currently running a gifting service. If you're wanting to cop a bundle in Warzone right now but it isn't in your store rotation, I've got the solution. I'm currently giving away and gifting any of my own bundles to anyone in Warzone. I own over 270 bundles valued at least £2,500 Great British pounds. Click my Twitter or Instagram link down below and contact me for details. I own bundles like Iskra Dead of Winter, Mara KAWAII Cat, Domino's Rainbow Sparkles bundle, which is my favourite bundle, and I have hundreds more for you to choose from that I can gift to you. I'll also have a link down below in the description linking you to a video showcasing all of the bundles I currently own for you to select from and for me to gift to you, and I'll update that as time goes on and I collect more bundles. I accept payment through PayPal only. Enjoy the video. What's going on, boys? It's Clements back in the mic. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different on the channel today, providing you guys with the 10 best class setups to be using in Warzone right now as of Season 1. Now just a disclaimer and a heads up at the start of today's video, all these loadouts do not include vanguard guns, and I'll tell you why and the reasoning for that right now. I just simply can't bother playing the game in its current state. It's 70 whole levels to max these guns out, and I'm just going to come right out and say, fuck that shit. Okay, so today I'm going to give you guys the most reliable substitute loadouts to use that are still very viable in game, and you can still compete competitively with alternative classes. So with that said and out of the way, let's jump straight into the steak pie and mashed potatoes into this video. So moving over to my weapons tab. So the first loadout we're going to be starting with the Kilo assault rifle. Now this gun is still reliable. It's not meta, but it's still reliable. It's much like the Grau. Okay, it's at its day. It's been hit with quite a few nerfs, much like the Grau, but you can still use it. And it's great at sort of mid-range engagements. It's got hardly any recoil, so it's very good for beginners. So starting things off with the muzzle, we're going to run the monolithic suppressor for the extra damage range. The Singard arms, yeah, Singard, if I can say it, 19.8 inch Prowler barrel for added recoil control, bullet velocity, and even more damage range. The VLK optic, of course, just to make our sights a bit cleaner. You get that 3x zoom. Commando foregrip for added recoil control and some aiming stability, and the 60 round magazine. Alongside that, we're using the MP7. I would usually use the Modern Warfare MP5 with the Kilo, but that has been hit with a seriously hard nerf, and I mean a serious hard nerf. The damage values have been decreased by about 10 on the MP5. It's really bad now. It's definitely not meta anymore. However, the MP7 I do believe has remained untouched. So when I'm using the monolithic suppressor, of course, one's on every single Modern Warfare gun in the game, especially in Warzone. The FFS Recon barrel gives us the most damage range possible out of all the barrels, and you get added bullet velocity and even some recoil control. Commando foregrip for added recoil control and aiming stability, and the 60 round magazine. And I like to use the tac laser for the added ADS, aiming stability and aim walking steadiness. However, you could sometimes, I do run the no stock, so you could use the no stock over the tac laser. It's completely optional. I don't really have one that I play with more than the other. However, in multiplayer I use no stock more, but in Warzone I use the tac laser. So any one of them will do. So that's the first loadout. Moving on to the CIA Max. Now this used to be a god tier gun, and to be honest guys, it still is. I think it's quite slept on. Just because it's been there doesn't necessarily mean it's been terrible. It just means that the developers have found a better and more suitable place for that gun. So for the AMAX, we're going to be using the monolithic suppressor, the XRK Zodiac barrel for the best damage range possible, bullet velocity and recoil control, the Commando foregrip, 45 round mag, and the VLK 3x optic. And then for the SMG, the secondary, we're going to be using the MAC-10. The MAC-10's fire rate is insane. It's got hardly any recoil, so yeah, it's really mobile as well. It's really a really light gun. So the agency suppressor, which is basically the Cold War's monolithic. Task Force barrel for effective damage range, bullet velocity and strafe speed, which is very important on SMGs. We do lose some recoil control on both vertical and horizontal, but on the MAC-10 it really doesn't matter. There's barely any anyway. I'm going to be using the Bruiser grip for movement speed and hip fire accuracy. Most importantly though, the movement speed, bit of extra mobility. The hip fire accuracy is just a bit of a bonus, I suppose. The 53 round drum mag, there's no reason to be using the fast mag because the ADS pelt is just not worth it in my opinion. So the 53 round drum mag is fine, and the Raider stock for sprint to fire speed, ADS firing movement speed, and aim walking movement speed. And we do lose a bit of hip fire accuracy, but that's fine, so we're running the Bruiser grip. So that's the second loadout. For the third loadout, we're going to be using a sniper support build for the FFAR, which has been nerfed multiple times in the past. This thing used to be a melt machine. It used to destroy. It was so overpowered. So they did nerf it quite a bit, and they also reduced its ADS quite a lot. So it's only really viable as a sort of SMG sniper support. So this is a sniper support build, so we're using a regular suppressor for sound suppression, obviously. ADS speed, which is very important on this gun. Bullet velocity and sprint to fire speed, so it's going to feel like more snappy, kind of like an SMG. But you can lose a bit of effective damage range. On the barrel, we're going to be using the task force for bullet velocity, horizontal and vertical recoil control, and we're going to have some effective damage range, which is going to counter the con of the suppressor. The Raider stock for added sprint to fire time on top of the suppressor. Aim-locking movement speed, ADS firing movement speed. The Serpent Rack for even more added ADS. It does knock off your sprint to fire, but we've got the Raider and the suppressor that gives the sprint to fire, so that's not an issue whatsoever. And the 50 round magazine, no need to run any fast mags. You could either use the 50 if you're comfortable using the 38 for no ADS penalty whatsoever, do that. However, the fire rate on this thing is pretty quick, so it's probably best to run the 50 rounds, but you could try both of them and just see what works better for you. Now the Pellington is the sniper we're going to be using with this. The Pellington is massively slept on, and with snipers like the KAWAII and the Swiss being nerfed in the Pacific update quite hard, especially the KAWAII. This Pellington now has a new spot in the game, in the meta, and it's very heavily slept on. It was heavily slept on when those two snipers were meta, and now they're not anymore. This has the time to shine. And the Vanguard KAWAII, by the way, honourable mention, is an absolute, it destroys, but I don't have it leveled up enough to make a class on it. So for the Pellington, we're using the Rap Suppressor for added effective damage range, most importantly, and also sound suppression. Gives us added bullet. I keep stuttering, guys. I'm sorry. Bullet velocity, vertical recoil control. Then we're using the Combat Recon Barrel for even more added bullet velocity. We do lose a bit of aim instability, but that's fine because the 5mm watt laser, as you can see, gives us aim instability and even more added ADS speed. The 7-round magazine is the sweet spot for this gun, for the sniper. It gives you no ADS penalty, and you've also got 2 extra bullets rather than just a standard 5 mag. And we also have the Serpent Rack for added ADS. You do lose sprint to fire time, but that doesn't really matter on a sniper whatsoever. Moving on to the next one, we do have the CX9 as the primary. Now the CX9 was added not too long ago actually. It was during Cold Wars, like Season 3 or Season 4 I think, I'm not sure. It's part of Soap's operator bundle, which by the way sucks. By the way, that's not soap in that bundle, that's shampoo, mate. Anyway, so the CX9 is, I don't see very many people using it. I don't know why, because it was really good when it was first added, and then they even buffed it. I don't know what they're doing, I don't know why they buffed it. It was already overpowered as it was. So we're using the monolithic suppressor, the CX38 barrel. You could use the CX38S barrel. It has an integral suppressor, so it gives you sound suppression, and it gives you an extra attachment to use up on something. You could use it on the stickle grip tape, maybe the TAC laser, but I'm going to use a monolithic just for that added damage range. I like that. Then the CX38 barrel, Commando foregrip, 50 round mags, because this thing's fire rate is insane. You don't want to use the 30, and if you've got the standard magazine for this gun is 20, which is insane. So you want to use not the 30, not the 12, because that's burst as well, I think. 3 round burst, yeah. The 12 is just terrible. So yeah, you want to use the 50, that's definitely the best option. And we're going to be using this, which is basically the nose stock. It's the CX-FR stock. Gives you added movement speed, very important on this gun. It's an SMG, and added ADS speed. Okay, so for the secondary, we're going to be running the CX9 with the M13. Now, this gun is quite slept on as well. It's by no means from really far. It's not that great, but at medium range, it's really, really good. It's practically a laser beam. It's got absolutely 0 recoil. So we're going to use the monolithic suppressor, the Tempest Marksman barrel, which is the longest one and the best one out of all of them. Commando foregrip for added recoil control, 60 round magazine because ammunition is key in Warzone, and also the fire rate on this thing is insane, so definitely need the 60. And the VLK 3 times optic as well. And by the way, on the VLK I am running the T-pose reticle. It's definitely the best one. If you don't have the T-pose, definitely use the default one instead. Moving on, we're using the AUG on the next loadout. Now the AUG is massively slept on, but it is quite a difficult gun because it's not the most mobile. It's probably the least mobile SMG in the game, so it's quite difficult to really make a loadout on this gun. The ADS is pretty shit, and the movement speed is pretty shit on this gun as well. A lot of attachments give you penalties like movement speed, and the 60 round drum, as you can see. So I'm using the monolithic, the 407mm lightweight barrel rather than the extended or the long barrel. These just add too much of a penalty to your ADS and movement speed. The tac laser for added ADS is very important on this gun. Now sometimes I use the 30 or the 60 round mag. Don't use the 32, it's either one of these. Obviously with the 30 you're more mobile, but you do lose obviously the extra 30 rounds. So you can use either one of them, and it does use 5.56 in that ammunition, which is, I think is it sniper ammo? I don't know, but it's whatever it is, it hits like a truck. It's really powerful. This gun has a massive damage value, and I think its time to kill is one of the quickest. I'm not too sure. And added, we've got stipple grip tip added as well for ADS, and a nice little bonus of sprint to fire speed. Moving down, we're using the C58 with this bad boy. So the C58 is still pretty good. I think it's really good. There's not that much recoil on it, so it's fairly easily controlled. I'm going to con about this gun's really the fire rate, but we're using the agency suppressor, the task force barrel for the most damage range possible, and most bullet force. The field agent crate for added recoil control, 55 round mag, and the axial arms 3x optic with the recon reticle. So that's that one. Moving on, using the RPD LMG. Now this LMG is massively slept on. I used to use this gun back when Cold War at its peak time, before Vanguard even came out or even announced. It's really good. It's massively slept on. So the Guru suppressor, the task force barrel, Spetsnaz grip, the fast mag. You don't want to use the Vandal speed loader, you want to use the fast mag, and the axial arms 3x optic, again with the recon reticle. This gun, trust me guys, try it out. You won't believe how good it is. On the secondary, we're using the Cold War MP5. I believe this did actually get nerfed in the Pacific update, but it's still pretty good. It's now actually better than the Modern Warfare one, I can tell you that. So we're using the sound suppressor for the most mobile muzzle out of all of them, because it's an SMG. We want the added sprint to fire speed as well. The task force barrel for strafe speed. The SAS combat stock, or you can use the radar again for added sprint to fire. Either one of them. The standard 50 round drum, and the bruiser grip under barrel. So that's the most mobile class for the MP5. You could even, I know a lot of people do this, you could take off the barrel completely and run something like the Tiger Team or the Serpent Wrap, but I like to use the Task Force for added effective damage range, bullet velocity, and you get that strafe speed as well. Moving on to the Farah assault rifle. This was really good back in the day. It did get nerfed, so it's not as good now, but it's like the M13. It's kind of like the Cold War's M13. It's got really fast fire rate, and it's pretty much a laser beam. It's not that great really far away, but in mid-range engagements it's really good. It's really hard to miss your shots, so 9 times out of 10 you will win the gunfight. So you want to use the Guru suppressor, the Spetsnaz RPK barrel, the XL arms 3x optic, the 60 round magazine, the standard one, not the fast mag. Like I've explained, there's no reason to be using a 60 round fast mag, and the Spetsnaz grip as well for recoil control. And with this you're going to think I'm an absolute madman, but we're using the DMR as an SMG. Now if you've got the trigger finger, I've seen clips of this on TikTok as well, if you've got the trigger finger, this gun is insane. The time to kill is really fast. If you can just spam this shit and outgun a Mac 10 or anything like that, which already has a really fast fire rate for an SMG. So you want to use a regular suppressor, the titanium barrel for the most fire rate possible, so when you're spamming it with your trigger finger, it's shooting as quick as possible. You do lose effective damage range, but like I said, this is an SMG build. The Tiger Team Spotlight for movement speed and a Morkin movement speed, the standard 30 round magazine, and the radar stock. Try it out guys, you're going to think I'm a madman, but it is really good. Now moving on to the MG82. The MG82 is a laser beam. In mid-range engagements it's really good. Its fire rate is insane, however it does have quite a bit of a kick to it. It kicks like a horse, It's really hard to control, which is why at long range it's not that great. But in mid-range engagements it's really reliable, it's really good, and it's quite mobile for an LMG as well. So we're going to use an agency suppressor, task force barrel, axe arms 3 times, field agent grip, and it's fast mag. Obviously this is the best recoil build you're going to find and going to get. So yeah, everything we have on this is to help with that recoil, which we really need. And as a secondary, we're using the XM4. The XM4 is really good. It's really good for sniper support as well, like the FFAR. So we're going to be using the agency suppressor, the task force barrel, target team spotlight, the mini flex LED optic, and the 45 round mag, the standard 45. Now we're using the mini flex LED because the iron sights in the XM4, they bounce a little bit when you shoot. It's quite hard to hit your shots at medium range, which is why we've got the barrel on. It's a, you know what I mean, we need to be able to engage with medium engagements, but if you really want to, you can maybe switch it for a bruiser grip or a serpent wrap, actually better yet, you probably should use the radar stock. So it's either the radar stock or the mini flex, whichever one you want. If you want to engage with medium range engagements, use the mini flex. If you're happy to just stick with close quarters, or you want to see how you play without the mini flex, use the radar. And then the last loadout of today's video is the AK-47, the Cold War AK-47. This did get nerfed in the Pacific update, but it's still really good. It don't kick as much as you would think, like AK-47s are known to do. It's really reliable. It's really good. So we want the Guru suppressor, Spetsnaz RPK barrel, Spetsnaz grip, and the standard 60 round magazine, and of course, you guessed it, the XL arms 3 times optic. And then we're using the Cold War PPSH. The PPSH is very reliable. It's got quite a bit of recoil, so it's probably better at close range engagements. Further away it kind of struggles. If you really want to engage in medium range, you might want to use the reinforced heavy barrel over the task force, but I like the added spray speed. But with the reinforced heavy, you don't lose that recoil control, but you do lose sprint in movement speed and aim work in movement speed, so you do become less mobile with the reinforced heavy. So either one of them barrels, completely up to you, but I'm using the task force barrel, the Guru suppressor, target team spotlight, Spetsnaz PKM stock. I'm only really using that because of the variant. If I take it off, you do lose quite a bit in the variant, which does suck. Over this I'll probably use the radar, but you could use the Spetsnaz PKM if you want, and the standard 55 round drum. More than enough ammo, and there's no ADS penalty with that. So I've got for you guys today. Those are the best loadouts to be using. I've just realised I've covered 9 loadouts instead of 10, because the 10th loadout is for tempered class. It's just a random class. That, by the way, is the best class setup for the STG. Little added bonus for you guys that made it to the end of the video there. Well earned. That's the best loadout for the STG you're going to get. So yeah, they're the top 9 best loadouts to be using inside of Warzone right now that aren't Vanguard guns. So whilst you're trying to level up all those guns to level 70, in the meantime you can be using one of these 9 loadouts I'm giving you guys today. So yeah, so I've got for you guys today. If you enjoy, smash the like button, consider subscribing to the channel if you are new. I've been Clements, you've been absolutely awesome. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out and take care.